whoever lost this game, I thought was going to be a fraud. I thought the loser of this game is stamp it a fraud.
Yes.
Luka is a fraud.
Mark it, fraud.
Not the case, really. It's I guess it's not strange at all. But
what the Mavs did is, I think it's a very college basketball thing. They decided we must have a fall guy. And that fall guy is 7'3", and his name is Kristaps Porzingis. And I think immediately the pivot that they made after that game was this was not Luka's fault.
Dude, it was very orchestrated.
Yeah, it was not Luka's fault. Luka will get the supermax. Kristaps Porzingis is the problem. Rick Carlisle, not the problem. Mark Cuban, not the problem. Front office, definitely not the problem. It's only Kristaps Porzingis.
I want to dive into my fraud power rankings.
Please.
I usually save it for the end of the show.
It's time to bump it up.
we got to, because I have a lot of thoughts, and I want to go through these, and we're towing around it anyway. So let's just dive in, and then we'll save whatever we don't hit in the fraud power rankings, and whatever else we can save it for later. So, number 5, I'm going to start in the Philly series because number 5, the Philly, yesterday before Game 7 happens, Trae Young destroys Philadelphia, and then the Sixers kind of come back. They throw out the 7th grade press basically, and the Hawks are like, weren't ready for this. And Rick Pitino's like, I told you the press could work in the NBA.
Always press.
Always press.
Splutz.
I don't understand. So number 5 on my list of the fraud power rankings is Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid starts the before the game. I was not aware of this because I'm not up to date on all the pre-game rituals in the NBA that were instituted 7 years ago.
Yes.
But apparently there's a ritual in the city of Philadelphia that they ring this bell.
Yes.
It's like their version of a
The
first
Liberty
pitch.
Bell.
They bring out the celebrity. Yeah. He hits the bell. Triple H was the celebrity they chose because Joel Embiid in the first series against the Wizards on the what do you call it? The video, the GIF, whatever's being passed around where Joel Embiid is doing the suck it crotch shot.
Told him to suck it, yeah.
And says thrust the process. So Triple H was in Philly to ring the bell, and Joel Embiid comes out with him, and it's a whole scene, and he's got a sledgehammer. And
it was, if you watch that opening scene, you would say to yourself, there's no way in hell the Sixers are losing this game.
Yeah.
In fact, if I'm the Hawks, I just pack it up because, I mean, they're so fired up. Embiid, you obviously would see that and think, this guy's locked in. He's going to have a great day. Woo, not the case.
Not the case. I mean, Embiid had, 39 points.
Yeah, but it was a yeah. My favorite thing is empty stats when people say, like, someone will have 12 assists and they say it's empty.
Yep.
But this was an empty 39 in the sense that, like, Joel Embiid, I thought he was going to come out and dominate this game. And you got John Collins. I love John Collins. Love John the Baptist. But John Collins can't be getting alley-oop dunks on you. And it can't be this easy situation where they were trying to feel out the Hawks. And then the Hawks are just scoring every single time. They're like, yeah, keep filling us out. What are you guys doing over here? Are there going to be any adjustments?
Yeah.
And Doc, after the game, says, yeah, we got to do this. We got to do that. We got to handle Trae better. I'm like, it came back to the Anthony Davis after game 1 when he's like yeah, I got to play better. Like, yeah.
If it's that easy, why didn't you do it already?
You guys not talk about this at halftime? I don't understand.
But Joel Embiid is, as we know, his antics are awesome when he's winning.
Yes.
His shenanigans are cheeky and fun when he's winning.
That is the NBA. That is the modern NBA star. The antics are awesome when they're winning, and then when it goes the other way, not so.
They're not so much. So lose game 1, so you're a fraud. The antics were not fun. So Joel Embiid is number 5. I'm staying in Philadelphia with number 4. It is a guy who made the fraud power ranking so much fun last year in the bubble when he was the head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. And it was fun discussing what is wrong with the Clippers. Is it Doc Rivers? Is it Paul George? Is it Kawhi Leonard? Doc Rivers no longer the coach of the Clippers. Still a fraud in my eyes, at least for now. Number 4, Doc Rivers. Because of what you said, that you have 2 guys who are defensive player of the year caliber guys, and Thibault and Ben Simmons. And he throws Danny Green on Trae Young. And he has the attitude of like, maybe we should switch it up. Maybe, and you're like, yeah, no shit. Like, what? How did you get to this point in the first place?
And poor Danny Green was so tired, he couldn't even take a shot. I don't think he had a field goal attempt into the second half. I'm serious. I was watching. You know, I'm obviously pulling for the Sixers as a Danny Green fan, as a North Carolina fan. So I'm watching Danny.
Yeah.
I'm all hyped up, and Danny's running all over. He's running in circles, and then the only thing that you can do when you have Danny Green is say, well, hey, if he's getting killed on one end, at least he can make up for it on the other end.
Right.
And now he's taking no shots because he's so tired. I didn't get it. It didn't make any sense to me.
They were trapping Trey a lot too. It felt like, or maybe it just seemed like when I was really locked in paying attention, it felt like they were throwing a lot of traps at him, which does not work either. It just felt like a very, like I said, the Sixers, from start to finish, the Sixers strategy felt like it was like an 8th grade AAU basketball game where you're losing late. Let's throw a press, or I guess a college basketball game. Let's just press and try to come back.
Yeah.
And it was working, I guess, because the Hawks were throwing it all over the gym. But they were like, I don't know if anyone's thought about this. Trey Young, not as tall as some of these other guys. Why don't we just simply trap him? And then Trey's like, toot, toot, toot.
Yeah, he's like, I actually love a double team.
3 ball. Yeah.
If Bogdanovich is let open,
yeah,
perfect.
Bogdanovich hit it. So Doc Rivers, they got to figure that out. Are you panicking at all about the Sixers?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not. I famously bet the Sixers to win the championship this year. I am panicking, from the sense that Joel Embiid, I'm not sure how many games we can have Joel Embiid have 39, 40 points. Moving forward, he's going to have 12 wins. And this was a 40-point performance where you get a loss, so that's not good. I'm worried about his knee in general. But you mentioned it. I mean, the fact that the Sixers basically came out and treated these guys like they were, nobodies and that they were going to win regardless. The Sixers acted like if Joel didn't play, that they would still win this game pretty handily.
Right.
And that attitude obviously did not work in Game 1. They lose that game. But I also think that was probably a nice shock to the system. I think they get things figured out. They are the better team. They're the deeper team. They have the most talent.
Does Game 1 matter? I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I can't figure out if Game 1...
Is it an anomaly or
is it like a feeling precursor? Or is it a precursor? I don't understand. I think
it's an anomaly because I do think that it kind of the best example I can give that I can think of in the history of basketball was Michael Jordan's first finals in 1991. They lost Game 1 to the Lakers, and after that game, they asked the Bulls, like they asked a bunch of players, are you panicking? Are you worried? Whatever. And Scottie Pippen basically said we have to make bounce passes. And, a lot of people kind of looked at him like, what? Like, what do you mean you got to make bounce passes? But they made Magic, play down, get low, and Magic didn't want to do that. And they literally started throwing bounce. But they win the series in 5. So the rest is history. So in that sense, it's like we used this game, we learned something, and then we used that for the rest of the series. And we course corrected and we won. So I think that's what's going to happen with the Sixers. I hope that this game, we learned who Trey Young was. We give him a tip of the cap.
Right.
But now we're going to have, different looks thrown at him. We're not going to have Danny Green to chase him around the entire time. Maybe Ben Simmons is on him a little bit. But regardless, we're going to give him different looks. And I think that will change this series. I'm not saying the Sixers will win in 5. I do think they'll win in 6.
Okay.
So that's what I
would
think.
Probably agree with you. So you don't think the Hawks can win this series? That's the other question we're asking ourselves.
I think anyone can win any series. I will never write anyone off, but I think that if I look at their team, I would say I don't see a path that they win this series. I don't see them winning 4 games, right?
Okay.
I see them winning 2 games, at most maybe 3. I don't see 4 games. I'm not seeing 4. Show me the 4th game, America, and I'll lock in. But I don't see 4. But Trey Young has defied everybody, right? I mean, Trey Young, we talked about how much people hate him. And every single...
I don't think you can hate him anymore because I think that's what he wants. And I don't think... I think people are too stupid to figure that out. That he's not... The guy is not normal.
Yeah,
he really truly does feed off the hatred. He's been hated. We went through it. Like, he's been hated his whole life. He doesn't really have a... There's never been a... When he was in college, he led the country in assists and points.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is true, but I'm sure when he was in Norman, there were people that were saying that he shouldn't be a 5-star. You know? He's not a 5-star.
No, there
I've
were.
seen 5 stars.
Yeah, and then he goes to Oklahoma, and even as Oklahoma started losing, people like really. I'm sure there were even Oklahoma. It's probably not true, but I don't mean to get mad at Oklahoma fans. But I'm sure. If
this is what Trey wants.
If I say it confidently, there were probably Oklahoma fans that were like, "This guy shoots too much. He's a ball hog.
Get him out of here."
Yeah, we keep losing. Trey, it's cool that he has all these stats, but we've lost like 6 games in a row. Get him out of here.
Yeah,
I actually think we'll be better next year without Trey Young.
That's what I heard.
I don't understand why people are falling into his trap though of hating him, because it's just giving him fuel. He truly is like better as you get the more he's hated. But anyway,
so maybe after game
we'll
one, that's what they should have done. Danny Green should have gone to the press conference and said Trae Young is one of the best young guards in the league. In fact, I think he's better than Luka.
I think what the Philadelphia 70s, if they lose game 2
kill
at
him
home,
with kindness.
If they lose game 2 at home, they need to do what the Kansas fans did for Buddy Hield and give him a standing ovation when he comes out to do his post game interview. Just give Trae a standing ovation.
Yes.
Be like, we love you. And MVP when he's at the free throw line.
Recruit him to Philadelphia.
If there's one city I know that will definitely do that, it's Philadelphia. Their fans are definitely wired that way. So.
Yes. They're like, you deserve the credit, not our shitty team. Yeah. That's
good. Number 3 on the fraud power rankings, and this is why I wanted to cut off the Game 7 talk a little bit, because now we're getting into it. My number 3 fraud power rankings is the entire Dallas Mavericks organization.
Wow.
All of them. Everybody. Top to bottom. This starts at the top. This starts with Mark Cuban. This starts, as you reminded me yesterday, that Mark Cuban, before the bubble, or when they got into the bubble last year, said he would divorce his wife over giving up Luka if he has to pick.
Yeah.
That was starts with that.
They asked him what would it take to get rid of Luka. Yeah. Like, he was like, how much would you give up for Luka?
That still feels like a fake quote. Maybe it is. Maybe it doesn't matter if it is or not, because the sentiment is there. Because Mark Cuban's like, even if I didn't say that, I thought it.
He's like,
he thought it.
You get it. You aggregated it. You got
there
it.
Is the Mavericks have not won. I was not aware of this until I had this thrown in my face everywhere I turned yesterday after they lose Game 7. The Dallas Mavericks have not won a playoff series since they won the title in 2011. Yep. In 10 years, they have gone to the playoffs 6 times. They're 0-6 in the first round. We talk about the Mavericks as though they are one of the better organizations in sports, or the better organizations in the NBA, because I think Mark Cuban's a fun owner. He's a guy that is a celebrity. He has Shark Tank. He is not afraid to speak his mind. He is kind of a little benevolent, where he'll, like, every so often, like, help a kid will call Mark Cuban and be like, how do I make billions of dollars, Mark? And it's like, try really hard, or don't try really hard, whatever, or some combination of the two. I don't know.
Be the best version of you.
Yes. So he's if I understand a lot of people don't like Mark Cuban, but if you're talking about billionaire owners of sports teams, he's certainly on the more likable side.
He's in the affable side.
Yes. He's more likable. Rick Carlisle is considered one of the best coaches, and I'm not saying he's not, but there's just a lot around Dallas.
You think the PR is good?
The PR is through the roof. And then when you stop and you think about the fact that they have not won a playoff series, not a single playoff series, not a championship,
not a
playoff
game.
Series, not a game. We're talking about a playoff series. Since 2011, the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009, and they treat it like,
I mean, it's over. Yeah,
like it's been 100 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's like desolate. Yeah.
Dallas hasn't won a playoff series, so I have to put them on the fraud power rankings at number 3. There you go.
What do you think, if you are a Dallas Mavs fan, do you think you're at the point where you're upset? That's the real thing, because they won in 2011, which I feel like got them cachet for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Really, where you just don't say anything. You let Dirk get his final contracts, get paid. You're okay with it. Then you get Luka, which is, I mean, that is basically winning a championship based on Mark Cuban's reaction to it. So they have been able to celebrate these moments. They got the farewell tour to Dirk, then they get Luka to come. So they've been able to kind of stopgap every single moment, so it doesn't feel like it's that long. You know what I mean? It's like the Dirk era ended, and then we started the Luka era. So it's not that far removed. We're only 4 years into the Luka era.
And then Dirk is coming back,
and now he's at the games.
That's helpful in PR,
and that's reminding us that we did win championships with him. And I think the Mavs
championships. You're right. We won championships, quote unquote.
Yes, because we went to the finals.
Yeah, we went to the finals.
Well, LeBron James taught us that if you go to the finals, it's a championship.
Yeah,
that's what we all learned in 2018. It doesn't matter if you win; it's about getting there. And so the Mavs fans in general, I think that they're happy. I think they're content. But I think you're right. We need to start, we
need to start throwing the F word around. We need to start throwing the F word around. That's all I'm saying. We got to start throwing around. And they make the trade. Like, I think part of the reason I was pissed off that the Mavs lost, beyond like wanting to hate the Clippers, is that I liked the Mavericks team last year so much more, where they just went full-fledged on go all in on the offense. Trey Burke was getting minutes in the playoffs last year, and he would just go nuts in the bubble.
He was amazing.
Seth Curry was awesome. They traded Seth Curry away for Josh Richardson to help the defense, because they couldn't guard anybody last year. And they said, well, what if we make this trade? We'll have Josh Richardson. He's a defensive guy. He'll solve all of our problems. I think their defense was worse this year.
Yes.
Which is it tells me you have no lack of identity. If this was college basketball and your identity was just score a shit ton of points, you would have gone more in that direction and not be trading for. You would have figured out a way to get more shooters around Luka. More. They didn't do that. They say let's be a better basketball team, and that's our problem. Is if we swap out Seth Curry for Josh Richardson, that'll solve everything. You still lose in the first round to the exact same team you lost in the first round to last year. It's time to throw around the F word. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, when you have Kristaps Porzingis after the fact say that he wanted to be a co-star instead of basically, this thrown away character in the world of the Dallas Mavs, that's also not bad because I think at the end of the day, you can spin this as he was the problem. So I think, talk about PR, like they're going to win the PR again. This isn't an offseason where people say, well, the front office is to blame because they made that trade for Josh Richardson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to say, hey, they're to blame because they traded for Kristaps Porzingis. But also they're not because it was a smart trade because they gave up, a first-round pick and Dennis Smith Jr.? So it wasn't like they gave up that much. So they win the PR of the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. There's never a moment where you can look at the Mavs and start throwing crap at them and say this is a problem, that's a problem, because they have it covered, and that's Mark Cuban.
That's
Shark Tank.
Genius. But I see through it, and I'm throwing the F word out there.
That's good.
Number 3, the entire Dallas Mavericks organization. Number 2, speaking of Luka and his teammates and whose fault is this, at number 2 on the fraud power rankings, I have the teammates of every superstar who loses in the playoffs.
Yes.
Every single one. If you get bounced from the playoffs, we know this to be true. It is not LeBron James' fault. It is not Luka Doncic's fault.
Nope.
It is not Damian Lillard's fault. It is not Jason Tatum's fault.
Nope.
They need more help. Everybody needs more help. But also, we all hate super teams, and we hate it when guys get more help.
Yes.
So those are 2 thoughts that we have, is that you need more help if you're a superstar.
But not too much help.
But not too much help. You got to find the right amount of help.
Which is why the Milwaukee Bucks have shown us how to do it. The Milwaukee Bucks, we saw last year in the bubble, Giannis Antetokounmpo. We said, this guy needs help. The only help he has is Chris Middleton, this other all-star. We need help.
Not enough help. Need more help.
But we couldn't get another all-star because then there'd be 3 all-stars. 3 all-stars equals a super team. So what do? We get Drew Holiday, who plays like an all-star,
borderline all-star,
but has never been given the moniker of an all-star. Then we get him the Bucks, and now they're just, they're a suitable team.
And now they're probably
finally got some help
for everyone listening because they played tonight.
Yeah, because they played 3 all-stars.
They played 3 all-stars, so I'm not sure that works either. But hopefully they win tonight.
And by 3 all-stars, I mean Blake Griffin. A lot of people at home are saying James Harden, he's not playing. What do you mean 3 all-stars? No, Blake Griffin's an all-star.
Blake Griffin is an all-star.
He's an all-star.
And he's playing game 1. He played like an all-star.
Exactly.
He is a sandbag.
And that blows your mind.
I don't think there's any other way to describe it. It's like Blake's coasted until it's time to. He's like, well, you kind of need me. All right, well then I'll.
Think about the Pistons front office as they watch this.
I know.
They're like, I watched this guy in practice. This is hilarious. He was sandbagging us the whole time.
You sandbagging son of a bitch.
These left-handed dunks that he's throwing down.
What do we do about this with I don't know with the idea of all these guys that need help I'm fascinated by Luka in general. I'm fascinated by Luka, Porzingis is kind of starting that conversation where he's like, I thought I would kind of get the ball more, and we all just stand around and watch Luka. And as I think about how the Mavericks fix their problems, quote unquote, I don't understand how bringing in another all-star is going to help because he's just probably going to stand around. It feels Luka is Harden. Luka's Harden on the Rockets, and it feels like they're going to cycle through their Westbrooks and their Chris Pauls and try to figure out what superstar you put next to Luka to make it work. And they're all just going to stand there and watch Luka dribble, and he's awesome. And I don't understand why people were killing Harden for this, were they not? I don't know. I don't pay that much attention.
Of course.
But when Luka does it, it's like, why does this man not have any help? Do we not already see the future? Do we not already see that when the Mavericks bring in insert superstar here, how is that what they really need is just more that's why I'm so upset. They just need shooters. Just put 1,000 shooters around there. Who cares about defense if you're scoring 2.8 points per possession?
Yeah.
Who cares about defense?
Yeah. No, And
you're unstoppable off it. Just go.
Luka has the exact same. It's the exact same situation as LeBron. I know a lot of people say he is LeBron, but he is the exact same fit because you can't bring a point guard there. What is the rule of LeBron James? Why do you think Dennis Schroeder has had a horrible year? Because LeBron James is the point guard. The ball is in his hands, so Dennis Schroeder's main ability on a basketball court is changed and has been shifted. Now he's shooting spot-up jump shots, and he's 0 for 9, and he's looking around like, what is happening here? So you can't bring in another point guard with Luka and say, this is how we fix this situation. You have to find people, spacers, whatever you want to say. But regardless, you know what you're building a team around. It's around Luka. And as long as that's how they operate, I think they'll be okay. The only problem that I have with the Dallas Mavericks is with Carlisle, who's a very basketball-minded individual, I think they're trying to build a championship team. And I will say, like, a championship team and a team that's curated to Luka will look a little bit differently, as it has with LeBron.
Right.
LeBron's championship version is different than all of our other great superstars' championship teams. You know, we don't necessarily need a traditional point guard. We don't need a traditional big. We need space.
Yes.
And that's what Luka needs. He needs space. And that's why Seth Curry is probably the perfect person to be around him.
He was absolutely perfect.
He literally
He was perfect.
gives him so much space. Why do you think he's playing with Ben Simmons right now? Because Ben Simmons needs space. Joel Embiid needs space.
So the whole idea of guys need more help and that'll solve everything. Especially in the case of LeBron, because I mean, he's basically the GM and he calls all the shots and brings guys in, but I don't know, whatever. That number 2 on my fraud power rankings, and that brings me to number 1, which you mentioned this man earlier. He's a colleague of ours.
Oof.
We love him.
Oof.
But I don't see how anybody else can be number 1 on the fraud power rankings.
Shannon Sharp.
Nick Wright.
Oh, okay, all right. Some LeBron defender had to be number 1 here.
Nick Wright, who I know 3 things about Nick Wright's basketball fandom. These 3 things. These are the 3 things I know about him.
I wonder if I know him. All right,
number 1, he loves LeBron James.
Yes, I do know
more
that.
than any human being on earth. More than LeBron James.
And adopted this, like in 2016?
Yes. yeah.
Which to me seemed like a late in life adoption, but I like it.
Nick Wright loves LeBron James. The Lakers lose. LeBron loses in the first round for the first time in his career. Nick is spiraling. He doesn't know what to do.
He's off Twitter.
Every step of the way, he's like, it's fine. The Lakers are. He is the meme of the dog with the fire around him. He's like, this is fine. I'm not panicking. I don't care.
Don't worry.
The Lakers can be down 3-0. I trust LeBron James in the first round. It's going to work out. It did not work out.
It did not.
He gets off Twitter. But that brings us to the other 2 things I know about Nick Wright's basketball fandom. He loves Luka Doncic.
Yes, he does.
And he hates the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yes.
The current iteration of the Los Angeles
Clippers. Again, that was started in around 2019.
Yes.
that pure vitriol.
They are frauds. They are not the kings of LA because LeBron James is the king of LA. So Nick Wright.
So it's almost like point 3 is attached to point 1.
Yes. They're all one and the same. And this was he took every single egg he has, put him in all of those baskets, and over the course of the last week, he watched all of those baskets bust open and the eggs have fallen onto the ground.
He looked in the basket and said, "Oh my God, these eggs are flat."
These are flat
eggs.
These
are flat eggs.
And listen, the fraud power rankings are objective. I don't mean to lob grenades at friends. I don't mean to have friendly fire here.
No, we want Nick to come on the show and to explain to us where his head is at. You know, moving forward. Like, what does LeBron need to stay at the top of the mountain?
What do LeBron and Luka need? They need more help. Yes. But like, Nick, what help do they need? Let's figure it out together.
It would be great if he's just like, Luka needs to go to LA. Luka, forget about your Supermax. Forget about your bird rights. None of that matters. Win a championship for LeBron. We got to go for 6.
Or Nick is fighting for Damian Lillard to play for both teams. Just like fly back and forth. Like whoever's on national television that week, if it's the Lakers and Mavericks.
Are we on TNT?
Dame gets that game. And then whatever game is like the local, like whoever's playing the Magic, Dame, you don't play in that game. You play in the other.
Here is the issue with Dame. I've seen the Lakers fans. I've seen Lakers fans even go as far, Titus, to say they want to trade Anthony Davis for Dame Lillard. But it brings back the exact point I just brought up. Dame Lillard is a point guard. So is LeBron James. So is Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
So if they play on the same team, it's the Kyrie Irving LeBron situation where both guys are like, I should have the ball.
Yeah.
And then we have a stalemate, and then it all blows up. So
that's
Dame Lillard is not the answer, is all I'm saying to Lakers fans. He's not the answer.
But then that's when you need the third guy where you have the Kyrie James Harden. That's like Kyrie James Harden, but then you throw in Durant, and then it's just so much talent.
Is that AD?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, that's AD.
Okay.
So trade. Why don't they trade Kuzma? He wasn't very good in this series. Trade Kuzma for Damian Lillard.
And the best part about that's what Lakers fans will say to you, or not even Lakers fans. That's what LeBron fans will say to you. And then
Caruso and Kuzma for Dame Lillard straight up.
And then you say to them, you're like, so why would the Blazers want Kuzma? They're like, he's 6'8". He can score from anywhere on the floor. Like, you're like, you just called him trash 5 seconds ago.
I love it. I love it. Those are your frauds. So as it pertains to Game 7, I don't know. I wanted to talk about the Mavs.
Hey there, thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.